You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening. Well, actually, good morning, technically. Ladies, gentlemen, days and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. I'm your humble host, Hunter here. It is roughly 2 in the morning on Thursday, the 30th of October. So happy Halloween Eve. I'm bringing y'all a review for this new indie film called I Really Love My Husband, written and directed by first-time feature director and writer in Gigi Hawkins. And this film stars Madison Lanacey, Travis Quentin Young, Arta Guy, and Lisa Jacqueline Starrett. Pardon me. So, the film in question, we follow Teresa and Drew, who are on their honeymoon. They've been married for about a year, and they're going off to this lovely tropical vacation to Panama. And what I really like about this, just from jump, is that the movie really shows that Teresa is a bit shady. She's having a conversation with someone on the phone that I won't spoil, and it really does a good job of setting the tone, and we can kind of go like, okay, I don't think she's remotely happy in terms of her relationship. And this movie, it's interesting. I would really compare this to something like The Heartbreak Kid, the original, not the god-awful Ben Stiller one. But what I really like about this movie is that it's got that Jack in the Box feel, where you just feel like someone is just slowly cranking the gear, or cranking the what is the thing on the Jack in the Box called? It's not the crank. There has to be a name for it, right? Like the handle, whatever. Handle, that'll work. It's 2 a.m. People, leave me alone. But it's someone really turning the handle of a Jack in the Box, and you just feel the tension ramping up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And similarly, in the way that I felt about The Heartbreak Kid, as you're watching the movie and you're watching Madison and Travis's characters and Teresa and Drew interact, there is just a point where you go, this can only end one way. Like, this most likely is not going to end well. And I've talked about on the podcast about how it takes a pretty good amount to make me uncomfortable, especially when it comes to just like people talking. And I'm actually wearing a hat right now, so you can't see it, but I'm literally tipping my cap to Gigi Hawkins, because there are several points in this movie where I'm just like, if I was watching this interaction happen in real time, I would actually like scoot to the back of the room, and I would just sit back so I could be conspicuous and watch, so I could people watch, but I want to be able to hear everything potentially that's being said, because Teresa, she doesn't like herself. She doesn't love herself. I don't even think she likes herself. And one of my favorite parts in the movie is Lisa Jacqueline Starrett, who plays this redhead Kiki. She straight up asks her, like, "Do you hate yourself?" And it's one of those things. And it's one of those moments in the movie that I laughed. I laughed really fucking hard. But also, after I stopped laughing, went, yeah, that's actually a fair question. Do you hate yourself? Do you hate yourself? And the thing that's interesting is that Teresa is very good. She very much has the gift of gab. She's very good about kind of just talking and talking and talking until she either wears you down, or she's able to pivot to a completely different topic. She's very good at that. As someone who also can do that, I appreciate how she was able to go ahead and kind of spin things. But when she's confronted, she does kind of wilt a bit. And I think the moment in that scene in particular that's fascinating is that she has to not only address that question in real time, but it's a stranger that she's had very little interaction with who's asking her that question. So clearly that means that there is something about Teresa's aura, her vibe, that is giving off the concept that she doesn't like herself. And I think that is a horrifying concept to Teresa, and where her character ends up. I think it's a really fascinating question, and especially at the time that question is asked in relation to the film. So I got to talk about David because I haven't really talked about or Drew. Pardon me. I have to talk about Drew, who's played again by Travis Quentin Young. So okay, as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh my god, Drew. Like I'm Team Drew. I'm Team Drew. I'm Team Drew, and I am still mostly Team Drew. But the thing about Drew is that dating Drew is kind of like dating SpongeBob, where where so little bothers him, it really makes you wonder if he even has a fucking pulse. And the way the movie starts off, there's this moment with this thing that happens on an airplane. And the moment that thing ends, I just went, uh-oh. Because, because it's one of those things that if you were to witness that, you could totally understand how your partner would just kind of be like, what the fuck? Like, let me own this. Like, I fucked up. You don't need to, you know, come to my rescue. But Drew is such a people pleaser that he's like cutting Teresa off at points to go ahead and say hi to people and ask how their day's going. Like it's church nice. I've used that term on the pod before, but it's church nice, where it's so nice that it loops back around to being fake and not feeling genuine. And that's the biggest issue with Drew. We don't get too much about their backgrounds in terms of like how they grew up or anything, but I would be curious if Drew like grew up like in a Christian household, or you know, or something to that effect, because it really feels like he was kind of Ned Flanders in the way of like, you know, don't let your, you know, if you have a bad emotion, you know, smile through it, you know, push that shit down. Is unfortunately a lot of kids are taught to do that. So you know, it manifests its way in different ways as an adult, and you can see how that would just wear someone like Teresa down, who has this concept of working on herself but really hasn't put in the work to work on herself because she doesn't even like herself. And so I just don't think Teresa even knows where to start in terms of that. And then Drew needs to acknowledge that he can be an angry person, but the concept of anger feels so foreign to him, so that when anger does actually come up, he doesn't know how to actually express it in a healthy way. It's really fascinating. Like watching, I went through and I rewatched a couple clips this after I watched it the first time. So I probably rewatched like another 20 minutes of it. And I again, while I'm still Team Drew, I do understand from Teresa's perspective, because there's a point where there's a point where something happens to Drew's hat, and he's so like flippant about it. He's just like, okay, I guess. And I'm like, no, if my hat got fucking traded for a fucking rock, I would be losing my goddamn mind. Like, I paid for that hat, asshole. Like, give me that shit back. So speaking of that, Arda, I'm gonna say Arda. Arda Gee plays Paz, who is this person that they go ahead and meet on the island, who ends up being their tour guide. They're the person who like owns the Airbnb that they're renting out. And Teresa goes ahead and floats the idea of, oh hey, like we should go ahead and seduce them. And you know, like, look, threesomes are fun, but it's one of those things where she drops it in such a disingenuous way. Like, she has clearly, and I think a lot of people do this, and you know, we're out of we're heading to. I can bring this up, I guess, but it's kind of like prom for adults. Like I think that people build up their honeymoon so much, where it's like it has to be this magical thing, and everything has to go right and be perfect, and da da da, and the flower, like the rose petals, or whatever fantasy you have in your head. I think so many people build up what a honeymoon is supposed to be. Like this has to be the best time in our lives, and I'm like, no, this is just like a bump in the road in terms of your entire life together. Like the best times are supposed to be ahead. Like don't put so much emphasis and so much pressure on your honeymoon to be perfect. It's just about you two spending time together. To wow, what's that word? Did I mention it's almost 3 a.m.? It's about y'all spending time together and growing together and just enjoying each other's company. It doesn't have to be this big grandiose sort of thing, and I think people do put so much on that. And I think Teresa very clearly had a clear kind of idea of what she wanted her ideal honeymoon to be. And because Drew isn't going ahead and fulfilling what her fantasy is, she thinks he sucks. And so it turns into this snowball that's gathering moss, and you're just like, oh God, this is not good. Like, girl, you gotta calm down. But also, Drew, like, please show some emotion, you fucking robot. And I just and I kept going back and forth, wanting to yell at both of them, like. And there's just a point where you realize, like, oh man, like y'all are gonna have to have a conversation, and it's gonna be very unpleasant when you end up having said conversation. But but I will say, Paz, very attractive, very charming. You can totally understand why people just fall for them. Like they just have that natural charisma, where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I could totally get how you would just like crush on them, and it would be like a fun thing. But you find out, without spoiling too much, you end up finding stuff about Paz that you're like, oh, that's like, okay. Not sure how I feel about that. Kiki kind of ends up being a monkey wrench in terms of that. But the thing for me that keeps me team Drew is the way Teresa proposes the threesome. Like, it's clearly something for her ego. Like, it's not coming from a place of it's not coming from a genuine place of her wanting her partner and her to both have this experience. She really just wants him to be there so that she can fuck someone else without getting in trouble for it. Like that's essentially why she wants Drew there. And when they, without spoiling too much, inevitably have their big fight, he calls her out on that. And I was like, fucking thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because he's 1,000% right. It's all about her having experiences. It's not about him having experiences. And that right there in a nutshell is pretty much why they are not good together. Like at all. And it's fun to see. Fun might not be the right word, but it's fascinating to see how their relationship erodes because of this third person. But to be honest, Paz was just kind of speeding up what the universe, God, whatever term you want to put on it, was gonna do anyway. Because there's no fucking way that these people are meant for each other. That's a whole other argument in itself. But there's no way. There's no fucking way that these two would be able to work. And some of the stuff that is said is so biting that you're like, oh yeah, you can't take that back. That's one of those things that you would wake up in the middle of the night and remember that your partner said, and you get pissed off all over again. There's some dialogue in here, and I've talked about it a little bit, but Gigi Hawkins really does nail so many moments of uncomfortability in this film. There's a whole monologue that Teresa gives about the Three Musketeers that I was sitting here in my seat just squirming, like, please make this stop. Like, this is not, like, please shut the fuck up. Stop talking. But y'all know me. I love stuff that makes me cringe and squirm like that. And I thought this film has that in spades. So if you don't like to be uncomfortable watching people interact, this probably isn't the film for you. But honestly, you should learn to like more stuff like this. This really is like someone took Girls, if it was, written and not written by someone who dilled their sister. It's like if you took Girls, White Lotus, and The Heartbreak Kid and kind of put that in a blender. Oh my God, you know who Drew is? He's Tom from the Boondocks. That's who he is. He's Tom. If y'all have watched the Boondocks, you know how Tom can be with Sarah and just how much of a fucking punk he can be. That's Drew. And so when you see Teresa kind of looking around being like I want to sleep with other people, it's kind of like, yeah, I actually see why you'd want to sleep with other people. But in terms of my final thoughts on this, it's shot really well. Because it is in Panama, like it's fucking gorgeous. Like it definitely gives off those White Lotus vibes. I think everyone in here is game for what they're needing to go ahead and bring to the table. I wish we would have got more Kiki, not just because of my love of redheads, but because I thought she jumps in at a couple points to kind of move the plot forward, and I think there's more with her character. So I was like, I wanted more Kiki. I was a little bummed we didn't get more of her. But with that said, I still enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this. Again, cringy fun, but fun nonetheless. So, B+. Let's go. Really enjoyed this, and this will be out on Apple TV, available to rent on VOD as well as on Prime Video. But yeah, check this out. This was for as much as I hated Ben Stiller's The Heartbreak Kid, this was like a very nice 180 from that. This is pretty much everything I wanted from that movie and then some. So yeah, check out I Really Love My Husband. I had a lot of fun with this. But y'all, check this out. You can pretty much check it out now. Go ahead and check out the podcast. Pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the show on oh my gosh, did I mention it's late? You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and Samsung Podcasts, to name a few, at The Real Pineapple. You can go ahead and follow your boy on Blue Sky at Real Pineapple. That's REEL Pineapple. .bsky.social. You can go ahead and subscribe to the show on YouTube at youtube.com and just search The Real Pineapple. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at jhunterreelpineapple. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam. And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheRealPineapple. By the time you listen to this interview, my interview with the writer and director of the film, Gigi Hawkins, will be live. So you can check out the video and the audio of that, where I mentioned. And as far as other stuff coming up, I'm going to have reviews for all the Final Destination films. I just finished watching them this morning, which is why I have not been asleep yet. I will have a review for Sinners. Finally, I'm watching Sinners. I'm so excited to watch Sinners. I know everyone's been yelling at me why I haven't watched Sinners. I'm getting to it. All right, I'm getting back in the rhythm. Give me some time. But I'll review for Sinners, and then I'm not sure what's actually coming out the next couple weeks. Oh yeah, Wicked for Good. That'll be. I guess I'll go see that. I'm just not excited for that, y'all. I know a lot of you love that movie. I just it's fine. I actually just remembered I haven't even reviewed the first one because I was just like, I'll get to it at some point. But I will have a review for the first Wicked. I might just do a double feature in terms of like reviewing that. But yeah, we'll have reviews come up soon for The Running Man. I'm excited to check that out. Predator Badlands is next week. I might actually hit the theater for that. But yeah, got reviews coming down your way. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Give someone a hug. Give someone a compliment. We could all use some more positivity. And never forget, as always, to keep it real.